Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Today I'm doing a little bit of a celebrity spotlight once again. This time it's Mr. Crow. Mr. Crow, as the name would suggest, is from Croatia. He's a World of Tanks EU community contributor. He streams World of Tanks live on Twitch TV 3 nights a week, Tuesday and Friday, in English language, and Sunday for viewers from the Balkan region. As well as that, he also produces the occasional World of Tanks video for YouTube, and in his previous job he was a professional video editor, so, well, some of his videos have to be seen to be believed. The standard of editing on them is nothing short of spectacular, and on top of all of that, he's also a bloody nice bloke. I first met Mr. Crow at Tankfest 2 years ago, and then again at Tankfest last year. And most recently, even though he's from Croatia, he currently lives in Frankfurt in Germany, and so Rita and I both met him when we went to EpicCon in Frankfurt last year, and he was kind enough to meet us and take us around and show us the Christmas market and the sights and sounds of Frankfurt city centre. Like I said, a bloody nice bloke. He also plays a mean game of World of Tanks, and he sent me 2 replays in, which I am very happy to be able to share with you today. So, both of these games are going to take place, as you can see, on the Windstorm map. Both of these games, he's going to be playing Tier 10 medium tanks. But the outcome of these 2 games is going to be very, very different, even though the tactics that he employs and the positions that he takes are going to be very, very similar. Like this, for example. This is a very, very aggressive move here in the E50M German Tier 10 medium tank. And he does exactly the same thing in the next replay, the T62A. So, top tip, if you're playing a standard battle in World of Tanks and you see Mr. Crow on the enemy team and he's in a medium tank, come down here and ambush him. Because he really likes this move. However, I briefly took control of the camera there just to have a look behind him and confirm that, yep, he's completely out on a limb out here. None of the team have followed him over. But none of the enemy team are down here either. They've completely abandoned the town. They've just totally given it up to Mr. Crow's team. And most of the enemy team have actually already been spotted. They're all up there in the central northern end of the map. And since they've given up the town, that's allowing Mr. Crow's team the opportunity to completely outflank them. Well, with the exception of the artillery, who he spots, or who gets spotted, and he's looking for the shot at the artillery, but he doesn't want to waste too much time because he has been spotted himself, and there's a Ferdinand pointing its gun at him. He bounces the shot from the Ferdinand bounces the shot off his turret cheeks, moves in. Oh, Rheinmetall Borsig with what looks like the 150mm gun, and he is pointing it this way, so tucks himself in behind the rock while he reloads, checks that there's nobody above him on the high ground. Borsig, low damage roll. Borsig survives on 2 health. Bugger. Ferdinand now, going for the cheeks. That's the weakest point of the frontal armour on the Ferdinand, the cheeks at the front of the hull. Ferdy is committing to coming around and get him, pumps a shot into his undercarriage as he crests the side of the hill there, takes the Ferdinand out. Looking for the kill on the Leopard. Leopard down. Whoa, Gorilla 15, back up, back up, back up. You do not want to get hit by one of those things if you can possibly avoid it. Tank Destroyer fires and misses, which is always satisfying, and he's looking for the shot. Doesn't quite have it. Wait. No. Gorilla 15's taking hits. Were you paying attention to the map there? I wasn't, but he was. And that's going to give him the kill on the Leopard prototype. Kill number 3. He's the only person on his team who's killed anything so far, and a third of his team have been knocked out. This is not looking good. Somebody's capping momentarily, or somebody was driving through the cap circle anyway. It's an AMX 1390. But he's no longer capping, so it's no longer an immediate threat. He's looking to finish this fella off, but there are far too many friendly tanks getting in the way, so screw it. There's no sense in fighting over scraps. He needs to head round to the other flank, because those guys chasing the kill on the Bulldog are in serious danger of getting outflanked by a whole bunch of enemy heavy and medium tanks. But Mr. Crow is already moving, paying attention to the map, and already putting himself into a position to outflank them. Now, who's he going to go for? A bunch of IS-3s, an IS-4, T-54 lightweight, 110. He's going to go for the T-54 lightweight. That's when the T-69 comes around the corner. He angles the tank, turning the turret slightly to the side as well, and that's where the shot went in. As he reloads, angles the turret away. T-54 lightweight puts a shot into him, hits his ammo rack. He uses the repair kit on that. You'll notice how he always turns the turret slightly to the side to bounce the shots from the T-69 when he's reloading the gun. And here comes a surprise AMX 1390. And oh, Mr. Crow, at least buy him dinner first. I mean, would you look at this? there's the AMX 1390, handled very roughly, I'm sure you'll agree. Pumps one into the turret ring of the T69, and while the T69 is struggling to reload the gun, and again angling the turret away between shots while he's reloading, just to increase the chances that if the T69 does manage to get the reload, he's going to bounce the shot, while at the same time not chasing the T69 around the corner and allowing that IS-3A to put a shot into him. Now he's going for the IS-3A, he's bounced a return shot from him, 110 over to the left, missed his shot, the IS-3A's retreated behind the rock, that leaves him free to put this building between himself and the IS-3A and start doing some damage to the 110. He rams him, takes his tracks off, and then starts using them as cover against the IS-3A, but well, the IS-3A has other problems, so he unloads some shots into the IS-3A's big fat Russian arse as the Object 430 comes around a little too slow, tries to get around the 110, fails, gets taken out. Mr. Crow takes the 110 out as well. Top gun, 6 kills. Now the IS-3A, who's still occupied with the friendly Conqueror, using the wreck of a dead tank as cover. Mr. Crow puts a shot into his rear drive wheel, is unlucky that it doesn't go through and do damage, follows it up with a ram, struggles to get back, angles the turret, doesn't really matter. The IS-3A manages to put a lucky shot into him anyway, but he kills the IS-3A on the reload, and that just leaves him and the Conqueror against a Gorilla 15 and a Skoda T50. And they are both spotted. Puts a shot into the Gorilla 15 before he can make it into concealment. Conqueror behind him also looking for a shot at the Gorilla 15 but misses. The Gorilla 15 shot is eaten by his outside drive wheel, which immobilises him. He waits for the repairs, then guns the engine and drives forward. He needs to get underneath the gun depression of that T50. Unfortunately, the T50 is way ahead of him. Now he does manage to fire on the move and put a shot into the T50, which means he's now a one-shot kill, but he took 2 hits in the process. Meanwhile, the Conqueror is coming around the other side, but the Gorilla 15 is waiting for him and takes him out. Now, the Gorilla 15 has just killed the Conqueror, so he's reloading. The Skoda T50 maybe has 1 shot left. So what he needs to do here is shoot the T50 and then ram the Gorilla 15. And if he can't ram the Gorilla 15 because the T50 is in the way, then just keep going. Get around him, you're always going to be able to beat his gun traverse and kill him on the reload. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, there goes his ammo rack and his tracks, and he doesn't have the gun depression to shoot either of them, and he's used his repair kit. Tracks back up, but the Gorilla 15's reloaded. Now, I don't know about you guys, although I suspect most of you are probably of the same opinion, but if that had been me, that would have been enough World of Tanks for me for one night, and probably my keyboard would have ended up lodged in my monitor at the same time. But when you're live streaming on Twitch, you don't really have that luxury. The show must go on. So the show did go on. And so, shortly afterwards, Mr. Crow found himself once again attacking from the same side of the Windstorm map in a Tier 10 medium tank. This time, however, it's the T62A. Despite the fact that they're both Tier 10 medium tanks, the E50M and the T62A couldn't really be more different if they tried. The E50M is sort of, well, it's more like a heavy tank on steroids. The E50M is huge for a medium tank. It's bigger than some heavies. It's got plenty of armour, an insanely powerful engine, and a great top speed, which makes for some bone-crunching, ramming damage. The gun is insanely accurate, has very high penetration, and is pretty good at firing on the move. But it lacks in rate of fire, which means that the damage per minute output of the E50M is not that great. Also, for a medium tank, it has a kind of a slow turret traverse. Now, despite what you saw in the previous replay with the way Mr. Crow was playing that thing, that means it's not the greatest Tier 10 medium tank when it comes to brawling. By contrast, the T62A is very, very good at brawling. The T62A actually has a relatively underpowered engine. However, the suspension has fantastic ground resistance, which makes up for the low power of the engine. It also has an amazingly tough turret, and the gun, like the gun on the E50M, is exceptional, but in its own way. It's got high penetration, it's accurate, it doesn't really have the big alpha damage, but it's got the rate of fire. Probably the biggest disadvantage with the T62A is the fact that there's a fuel tank right next to the driver, which means this thing can and does get set on fire when hit from the front. You will see a lot of players in Russian medium tanks. Oh, whoa, hold on a minute, hang on a second. Jaegeru on the corner. You do not want to start the game off getting hit by the 170mm gun on that monster. So, he's got the low ground. Looks like the enemy team haven't completely abandoned the town on this particular Windstorm battle, and there is a T-57 Heavy coming up here with him. So he reverse angles the tank, ready to immobilise this guy if he pops out to take a shot, but he's looking at the T-57 Heavy, takes half the T-57's health off as the T-57 wastes 2 shots for no damage whatsoever on him. While the Jaegeru is reloading, he moves forward, attempts to immobilise him, did score some critical damage there, but I don't think he blew his tracks off, possibly damaged the tracks without actually taking them off. The T-57 Heavy has had quite enough of that. One more hit from the Jaegeru's monster gun and he's dead, so he and a friendly M103 work their way around the rear, and that's what Mr. Crow's waiting for. Jaegeru now has to make a choice. He pops out, blows his tracks off. The Jaegeru burns his repair kit. Fantastic. Now there's nothing he can do. Well, there is one thing he can do. He can finish off the T-57 Heavy, and he does. But Mr. Crow pumps another shot into his rear as the M103 desperately trying to get around him before he reloads the gun, but, well, Mr. Crow's reloaded again. That's the rate of fire on the T-62A. Finishes him off, saves the M103, and then into the town. Anyway, as I was saying before we were so rudely interrupted by a Jagdpanzer E100, that fuel tank next to the driver at the front of the T-62A. A lot of the time you'll see Soviet medium tank drivers, they won't use a fire extinguisher, preferring to take combat rations instead. That can get you in trouble on the T-62A. You can see Mr. Crow prefers to use the premium fire extinguisher. In case you're interested, if you're facing a T-62A from the front and you can see his headlights, that's where you aim. That's where the fuel cell is located, in sort of vertical line right behind the headlights at the front of the hull. And the frontal hull armour on the upper glacis on this tank, FV4202, put a cheeky shot into him, force him to back off. We don't want him shooting at us from above. But yes, the upper glacis hull armour on this tank is 100mm thick, and if you can put a shot anywhere along a vertical line behind the headlights and penetrate, you're probably going to take out the fuel tank and set this thing on fire. Ducks into the side of the building there, denying the FV4202 the shot, looking for the shot at the T10. Nope, nothing. Looking for the shot at... oh, hang on, he can kill the STB-1. That's a valuable kill. That's another enemy tier 10 removed from the game. By the time he reaches the next corner, the gun is already reloaded, so he blows the tracks off the T10 for his teammates in... oh, hold on a second, outflanked by a cheeky little IS-3A, who scores a very, very big damage roll there, 463, but takes the IS-3 out. Continues to keep the T10 immobilised. This poor guy appears to only have the BL9 gun from the IS-3, and he does have an E4 in front of him, so... yeah. Still, it's an enemy tier 9 heavy tank removed from the game, and speaking of enemy heavy tanks, check out this IS-7. Tracks blown off, damage taken. Mr. Crow reverses around just in case he uses a repair kit and is able to point the gun at him, but he doesn't use a repair kit, or he's already used it, and he can't point the gun at him because there's a building in the way. Now this is something that you would find difficult to do, keeping an opponent permanently tracked if you're in the E50M, because it just doesn't have the rate of fire on its 105mm gun. The T-62A with its 100mm gun definitely does. This match is absolutely neck and neck at the moment. He's going for the Scorpion G there. He's either killed or been instrumental in killing 3 of the enemy's tier 10 tanks so far, but now he's about to get himself in a potentially tricky situation because that Scorpion G has brought friends, an E50 and an E50M. And you've seen from the previous replay what a ramming monster the E50M is, and here he comes. Unfortunately for him, he got the shit shot out of him. And there goes the Scorpion G, which just leaves the E50 suddenly bereft of friends. That E50M did not know what hit him. I mean, oh, the E50's not quite dead yet. I mean, he came around that corner and he still had almost all of his health, and he took something like 3 shots. There goes the E50. Took something like 3 shots, and you'll notice, shot from the front, T-62A's fuel tank has been damaged. Mr. Crow, lucky that he didn't burst into flames there. Although if he did, he does have the premium fire extinguisher. But just a fusillade of fire came from his teammates and reduced that E50M to such low health that he basically rammed himself to death on the front of the T-62A. 3 enemy tanks remaining, and there's the AMX-48, and this is bad. I mean, he puts a shot into him and he attempts to waggle the front of the hull to increase the chances of a bounce, but, well, that guy's using the 100mm gun. We can tell because he took about 3 seconds to aim, and he did around about 400 damage. And with the penetration on that thing, particularly firing from higher elevation, which is going to reduce the effective sloping of the hull armour at the front, which is only 100mm thick in the first place, there was very, very little chance, despite Mr. Crow's best efforts at waggling the tank to increase the angling, but there was very, very little chance that that was ever going to fail to penetrate. So that was 400 or so damage that he could have done without taking. Attempts to take a shot at the 4202. There's the AMX again, doesn't quite have a shot. The 4202 has problems of his own, however. Mr. Crow did get spotted, however, so the AMX knows he's crossed the river. And the AMX appears to be feeling pretty confident in his ability to take him out. Mr. Crow immobilises him, is unlucky not to do any damage. The AMX takes a hit in the flank from a teammate, uses the repair kit, but there's no way you're ever going to outmaneuver a T-62A in an AMX-48. That just leaves the Rheinmetall Borsig, and the FV-4202 has just been taken out by the AT-15 and the IS-7. He bounces a shot for 750 potential damage from the Rheinmetall Borsig, which tells us that the Borsig's using the 150mm gun, and if Mr. Crow's quick, he can get around there and beat his reload. He loads the high explosive for the one-shot kill, which naturally doesn't one-shot kill him, so he closes in and finishes him off with a rang. So, very similar to the first game in the E50M, except without the rage-inducing results, and this time with the Radley Walters medal into the bargain. I think you'll probably be forced to agree that he's a reasonably good player. He seems to know a thing or two about World of Tanks. He does, of course, have his own YouTube channel and Twitch livestream. Links to both in the video description. That's Mr. Crow. World of Tanks EU community contributor, an all-round bloody nice chap. Hope you enjoyed today's video, folks, and thank you, Mr. Crow, for sending those replays in. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.